Welcome to the beas webinar series. Today we are going to talk about the adjustment at the work order when users make mistakes. In our agenda, we are going to review time receipt adjustment, good issues cancellations, production good receipt cancellations, how to reopen a work order, and considering the cost and accounting impact when we cancel time receipt, good issues, or good receipt. Let's go directly to the system to see it. Let's start with an example about the time receipt. When we want to cancel a time receipt, we can cancel this time receipt or modify the time receipt from the work orders. If we go directly over the time receipt, and then we can double click to modify the time receipt. We have the option to modify the time receipt, just modify the information, but and also it's possible cancel. Despite the system say delete, we can cancel the time receipt or delete the time receipt is going to be keep on the system, save this information, continues keeping this information on the table, but we are going to place 0 in the duration part and 0 in the quantity. There is two ways to cancel time receipt or delete time receipt on beas. One option is you keep the information. In case you don't have any journal entry related to the time receipt, the system is going to delete. It's possible that delete and you cannot see it. But if you want to keep this information, there is a parameter in the configuration wizard. In case you don't have a journal entry related to the time receipt, you can change this parameter at the configuration wizard just to any time that you decide delete, the system doesn't delete, just cancel or just modify this time receipt but keep it in the system. To do it, you have to go to the production in FDC, which is anything related to the time receipt, and then you have to go to the order time receipt protocol. When this option is deactive, means that you can delete the time receipt in case you don't have a journal entry related. So this means you don't have any information in the database in case you delete it. If you decide to activate, anytime that you decide to delete, it doesn't matter if you don't have this journal entry related, the system is going to cancel. It's going to keep the information of the time receipt. When we want to modify a time receipt, a duration, or quantity, we can access directly the time receipt over the work order, or it's possible also that we go to the production factory data capture production time administration. At the production time administration, we are available all time received in a specific date. So this means we can modify directly from here any time received. So the people who is responsible to administrate this time can modify any information in the time received. When we decide to modify any information in the time received, the operator, the time, the duration, in this case, or the quantity, we have to consider that sometimes we have some time received related with the journal entry related or not. For example, I have here a work order, a time received without a journal entry. This is because normally in this example, the operation cost is reported at the moment of the production good received. So this means related to the cost schema and not the time received. But you know also it's possible to report the journal entry at the moment to report the time received at this example. So this is the information in the time received is not only the time and the quantity, is also an information that was sent to the accounting. In the case that we have a time received that doesn't have a relation, we can modify any quantity or any journal entry or any duration, and we have to be careful, for example, if we already report the production we receive or not. In my first simple example, it doesn't matter if we decide to modify the quantity because actually I'm not reporting yet a good issues or also a good receipt. Nothing happens if I modify this quantity. I can modify this quantity just because I say here, for example, 50 minutes instead of 40 and just save. This is simple way. But of course, in my example, the system is going to ask if I need to recalculate the times considering other time in the work order. I say yes in this case. Uh, I have my modification, but of course, in this case, my modification doesn't have any impact in an item that I already received because I have not received anything yet. In case I modified a time receipt that have a journal entry related, the system is going to cancel the journal entry that was created for my time receipt and create a new one, especially when we are going to modify the quantity. If I change this and I decide to place 60 minutes instead of 40 and say save, the system is going to cancel my time receipt and create a new time receipt. So if I expand here, you can see that the system have my first time receipt, the cancellation of my time receipt and the journal entry, and my new time receipt. So we can see it also from here. We have to be careful when we decide to modify a time receipt, especially if we report the production's good issues or good receipt related to the time receipt. This means last operation or first operation or any specific operation that we can report the material consumption. In case we have time receipt that is related to material issue, this is an example. We have here a raw material that was already issued in this time receipt. But if I decide to modify the quantity because it was not 4, it's 3, for example, the system is not going to modify automatically the production's good issues or good receipt. So this means we have to do it manually. Normally, when we have a relation, the system is going to display an information. You have to do it manually. It doesn't matter if you do it from here or you do it from other places. So you have to be careful that when the time receipt when we decide to modify a time receipt that have good issues or good receipt related, the system is not going to do it automatically. We have to do it manually. We have to complete the processes manually. Sometimes also we are going to find other examples when we already have my good issues, but sometimes we have to modify a time receipt that already have it. So this means we have to complete the processes doing a manual good issues cancellation and good receipt cancellation in case we need it. Also, it's possible in the case if I need to modify a time in an operation that was already closed, I have to reopen this operation and then modify my time receipt. To reopen an operation, you have to go here to the operation. You are going to find this checkbox that is the close label that is have a checkbox, and you can deactivate and update to reopen the operation. If the operation is closed, it's not possible to modify anything related to this operation. That's the reason we have to reopen the operation. In this case, I can modify now the time receipt related. If I decide to modify this time receipt because it's not 40, it's 60. I already received my first partial receipt. Let's say save. Actually, this is not a time receipt that is have a journal entry related, as you see. However, of course, at the moment that I received my item was received with a specific price considering 40 and not 60. If I'm going to continue reporting another good receipt, I can keep the first calculation because the new calculation is going to consider fix my 60. The problem is if this was the last receipt and I have to cancel everything. In this scenario, I'm going to keep my 40. I'm not going to cancel the issues and cancel the receipt because was just an adjustment in the time. As you see here, I have 60 now instead of 40, but I'm going to continue reporting a new time receipt, and that's the reason I'm not going to modify anything because the system is going to adjust my new good receipt according to the changes. Also, when I close, let's say here, 5 minutes, 1 unit in partial receipt, the system is going to adjust the quantity according to these new changes. Of course, we have to consider or we have to be aware about the evaluation of our assembly that we decide the method that we decide at the configuration wizard. So this means if we decide to use a planned cost or an actual cost, especially when we decide to use an actual cost and depend on the and in this case depend on the method that we decide to use, the system can adjust this quantity. If you see, this was my first operation that was calculated considering my 40 minutes. By my second good receipt, consider my 60 minutes. So the system automatically adjusts. But that was possible. I avoid to cancel my first good receipt because in this scenario, that was a partial receipt and I'm still continue reporting in this work order. Sometimes it is possible that you already close the work order, you already deliver your good receipt or you already receive everything in your work order and you are not going to receive any more in this work order, but you need to modify, in this case, a time receipt. We have to cancel, in this case, we have to cancel the good receipt or we have to cancel the good issues in case we also need to return a quantity of our raw material or in case we need to modify a quantity of our productions item. And we have another example. In this new example, imagine that I receive a new 10 minutes 2 pieces partial receipt. And I'm going to confirm, I'm going to close my work order at this moment because receiving everything. I have this work order. I already report everything here, but I decide to modify, oh, this is not, actually my position, my work order at this moment is closed. Everything is closed because I decide to. But when I check this, I could see that there is an error in my minutes or my quantity and I have to modify. It's not, oh, was not 2, was just 1, for example. First of all, if I need to modify anything, I have to reopen my work order. If I decide to reopen the work order because the entire work order is closed, I have to go to the header of the work order, right click, and we found the reopen. If we have the work order open but the position is closed, we can use the information in the position and then reopen the position. I'm going to say yes to reopen all positions related to this work order. Say OK. My work order is already open. I need to open my work order to do any adjustment. I have two options to do that. If I decide that is not 2 units is only 1, one option is I can just cancel everything and create a new time receipt. This means I can cancel my time receipt, return my raw material, return my goods received, cancel my goods received, and then report a new time received. This is one option, or I can do it partially. Let's just cancel everything. So if I decide to cancel my time received, depend if it is a time received that generate a journal entry, or it is a time received generate or not generate, in this case, a journal entry. And also the parameter in the configuration wizard is allowed to delete or cancel. If I modify everything, because I have the parameter at this moment deactive, this means I can delete, but I'm going to modify my this to say 0 minutes or 0 pieces and 0 units. I'm not sure if the system, but if you see, this time received is related also to my stock movement, my, in this case, my good issues and my good received. But the system say I'm not going to adjust automatically. You have to do it manually. So I already have, I am not allowing at this moment time with 0 duration. Let's say 5 minutes, 0 pieces. Save. So at this moment, I report here 2 units that is not possible to return automatically on the system. How can I return? So I can, at this moment, I can go to my good issues first. This is the good issue I want to cancel. I'm going to right click and go to the cancellation of the specific good issues, and the system is going to open the document. All raw material reported on these good issues. I can decide to, in the cancellation field, to specify the specific quantity, let's say 1, or I can use the button pre-assign. With the button pre-assign, the system is going to take the planned quantity or the quantity used in the good issues document, exactly this. If I use pre-assign, you're going to see automatically place here too. And so I'm going to assume exactly the quantity reported in my goods issues. This is also very important. When I did this cancellation, it doesn't matter what is the cost of my raw material 1 or the raw material 2. Imagine my raw material 1 at this moment is the price. This is a moving average item. Imagine that currently the value is 2. But at the moment to cancel, the system is going to consider the price that we have it in our production good issues. Is at that moment was 1, the system is going to consider the cost in our good issues document, not necessarily the cost at this moment. The cancellation automatically is going to take the price in our good issues document. So when you are ready to process, you are going to use the button cancellation, and the system is going to report a good receipt to return this quantity. If I expand here again, you can see we have a new document, cancellation, and this new document already have the quantity. I reported both, but also you can report a specific. If I go to my production good receipt, also the specific good receipt that was this one, also I have with a right click cancellation of this receipt. This is very important because it doesn't matter what is the calculation of this item, and probably for this work order is something close to the 45, I think. But at this moment, at the moment of the cancel, we are not able to determine a price for this. At the end, this is a good receipt. We are going to return this quantity to the stock, and depend on the way that we evaluate this item is the way that the goods issues is going to be created. So I cannot, in this case, I cannot issue the quantity with the specific cost that was used in this work order. This is not possible. but this is because the way we evaluate our item. My item is, at this moment, it is moving average. Anytime that we receive this item in this work order, we are going to return this quantity. The cost of this item is 42. Normally it's 44. But if I go to the master data of this item is a moving average, and I'm going to check the cost of this item that at this moment is 69. At the moment that the system is going to create these good issues to return this quantity, this is going to be created as 69 because it's SAP valuation method. So I'm going to cancel this. Cancellation. That's the reason the system say we are not going to be able to cancel with the same price that we report at that moment. It's not possible. And the system is going to use this new. So we cancel. The system open this issue manually but related to the production. We say enter. I'm going to return my 2 pieces. And we have this cancellation document. All of them generate, of course, our journal entry to return also the quantity. If you see this document, the cost inside this document, it is according to SAP. That was 69 in my case. It's not possible that we returned with the same cost that we received. We have to issue according to the method of the item. So this means if I report again more pieces or just one, the new calculation, if there is something that was not included, is going to be adjusted and sent to the variance account. If I say here, create a time receipt, imagine that I'm going to report 5 minutes only for 1 pieces, but I'm going to confirm my completion at this moment. I have an option on my system to report the balance journal entry at the moment to close the position. If the system finds any difference in my WIP account, it's going to send this difference to the variance account. This is going to be the case, especially because I have also a difference in this when I cancel this receipt. So we can see that the system report a book difference between, of course, in my case, in my scenario, it is a book difference because this information that I have in the cancellation of my good receipt. So this means we have to be careful in the moment that we decide to report a modification of the time receipt. We have to be careful with the product cost, depend on the cost that we decide to set up on the system. Is it planned cost or actual cost? But and also we have to be careful with the accounting because once again you receive an item, you cannot adjust this item. If you have a batch item, it's not possible to see the cancellation directly in the good receipt. So this is a case when we receive a batch item, I have to expand, and over the batch I have to right click, and this is the moment when I see the cancellation. Otherwise it's not possible to see the options. You can see the option. Let me report here. This is a standard item. I'm going to report here, let's say 30 minutes, 3 pieces, partial. I'm not going to close. This is going to issue and receive. My time receipt is to issue and receive. So you see, for a standard good receipt, when it's not an item that you manage by batch or by serial number, you can directly right click and cancel. But when the item is managed by batch or serial number, you have to go directly to the batch or serial number and then cancellation. The system is going to open, also is going to warn about the cost, and it's going to open our issue manually screen with the batch information, and you have to confirm the quantity. We also see how to reopen our quarter, and just like a final point, just remember that it's very important to consider the impact in the accounting in case you have to consider the way that you report the productions, the journal entries, because it is by cost schema or it is by time receipt. By time receipt is going to be canceled automatically. By cost schema is not going to be canceled automatically, but it's going to be adjusted in case you are still going to report a good receipt. In case you are not going to report a good receipt, the last journal entry is going to generate this balance journal entry in case you have set up to balance the journal entry to report any difference to our variance account.